Hi everyone, I'm Angela and welcome to Crafting with Angela. This is your new go-to place for all things paper crafting. Whether you've been crafting for a while now or are just starting out, you'll find a variety of tips, tutorials and inspiration here. In today's video, I'm going to be making 3 cards with ink blending and silhouette floral stamps. Before I start an ink blending project, I always put a mat down on my work surface to protect it, as inks can make a real mess. You can ink blend most ink types nowadays, although some will blend easier than others. I'm using both distress inks and distress oxide inks in this video. The oxides blend much easier, but you can obtain a similar result from both. There's a list of the inks that I use in the description box below. I use these brushes to blend my inks with one for each family colour. I'm using a variety of card bases. These are bases that I've had in my stash for ages and vary in size. I'm going to use this white cardstock to make the mats for the cards. I'll cut the mats to the same size as the card bases and then I'll trim them down after the ink blending to leave a 1/4 inch border around the card. I use a caterpillar to cut my card, but you can use whatever trimmer you have or even a craft knife and metal ruler. I'll be blending the 5 distress inks into the square mat. So I start with the lightest colour, which is yellow, and cover approximately 1/5 of the card with the ink. I need to work the ink repeatedly to try and get a smooth layer of colour. This does take some time and I've speeded up this video so you don't have to watch all night. Once I'm happy with the colour, I'll move on to the next colour, which is pink. I'll put that colour down on the next 1/5 of the card, and I don't start blending between the colours until I'm happy with the initial colour band, and then I'll add the dark colour to the lighter colour and work both colours until I have a happy blend between the two. Next I move on to the purple colour. Again, I'm adding it to the next blank 1/5 of the card, getting an even colour. The purple requires more work as this is the first time I've used this brush, so there is no surplus in the brush bristles. When I turn the card around to come at the card from a different angle, I use my bone folder to hold the card down to prevent getting fingerprints on the inked card and also prevent covering my fingers in ink. Once I've blended the pink in, I will move on to the blue colour and I'll fill the rest of the card mat with the blue colour. So that's approximately 2/5 of the card is blue at this stage. I want a smooth layer of colour before I start blending in with the purple. Remember, when you blend in between the colours, you want to use both colours and brushes to get it as smooth as possible. At this point, the card is completely coloured and we now have 7 colours on it. The final stage is to come in with the black ink and darken down the sky to give the idea of a sunset. Black ink can be very overwhelming, so I use it in small amounts. I bring some in from the top and also bring it down the sides, down to the purple line. And then I come in with the blue ink to add some colour back in. That's the first ink blended background completed. I'm going to clean the blending mat with some water and a cloth before I move on to the next card. I'll repeat the same technique, except this time I'm using the Distress Oxides. This will be a 5 by 7 inch card, so again I've cut the mat to the same size until we've completed the background. I'll start with the lightest colour, in this case it's a cream, and that giving it a good layer of colour before moving on to the yellow. As you can see, the Distress Oxide inks are going down much easier and giving it a deeper colour than the Distress inks. They also blend together easier. Now I'm on to the purple. I'm making this layer thicker than the previous two layers because it'll create a stronger colour when blended with the yellow. I'm also bringing the yellow further up into the purple so I can give it a wide orange stripe. As the Distress Oxides are much more colourful, I'm cleaning the desk between colours to make sure I don't get any unexpected colour mixes. Then I'm coming in with the blue and filling the remaining space on the card. Then I'm going to blend all the colours again to give a smooth blend across the card. I don't have a black Distress Oxide ink, so I'm using my Distress ink in black to complete the sky. Yet again, I'm being easy with the black as I want to darken the sky but not remove all colour. And that's the second ink blended background completed. For the third card, I'm going to use the same technique with the Distress Oxides. I've die cut an oval out of a sheet of masking paper. You can use whatever shapes you have. If you don't have a die cutter, you could cut a shape using a craft knife. I stick the masking paper down onto the card mat and then I'll ink blend onto the shape. I'm not going to use the cream ink on this card because it's a smaller space and it doesn't really need the additional colour. So this time I'll start with yellow, then purple, then blue, and finally black. Once the blending is completed, I'll remove the masking paper and you can see the oval sunset. Here you can see the 3 ink blended backgrounds that I've created. I need to trim these down to fit onto the card bases. I'll list the sizes in the description box below. For the oval sunset, I initially cut it so it wasn't centered, so I had to come back in again and cut one side further down. I'm going to stamp some flower silhouette stamps onto the background in black ink. For this technique, it's important that we get a deep, uniform colour in the black, so I'm going to use my stamping platform so I can ink it up and restamp it as needed. With the oval card, I'm going to line the bottom of the stems of the flowers up with the bottom of the oval so that there's no overhang. With the other 2 backgrounds, I'm going to put several flower stamps along the base of the card mat. I've repeated the stamps, moving them so that they're orientated slightly different and also at different heights, so it looks more like a meadow instead of a range of single plants. And then in this card, I am taking a grass stamp to try and fill in some of the empty spaces. Next, I'm going to come in with the sentiments. I feel the words are most easily seen in the blue area of the sky, so that's where I'm adding them. For the first card, I've added a sympathy sentiment, and for the other two cards, I'm keeping the sentiments more general, so I could use them for other reasons if I need to. I'm then going to finish off the two bigger backgrounds by rubbing the black ink pad across the bottom of the card. With the square card, I've also let it press up into the front of the card to give the impression of grass and try to take up some of that empty space. All that's left is to stick the card mats onto the card bases. I'm only showing you this with the oval card, but the process is the same for all of the cards. I add double-sided tape to each side at the back and another piece in the centre of the card. I then start to pull off the backing tape of each of the sides and fold it over so that it sticks out like a tab. Then I remove the backing tape from the central piece. I line up the mat on the card base. Once I'm happy that it's square, I'll press down on the centre to hold it with the tape there and use the tabs around the side to remove the backing tape and attach it firmly to the card base. I also come in with a bone folder to ensure that it's properly burnished and will stay in place. Here you can see all three completed cards.